This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 1651, Previews!
You got it on Wednesday, and it was like about it going to the volume up. These guys will talk about it, everything that geeks love. From capes to laser beams, opinions like the seasons on everything you read. And comics, movies, games, toys, artists, come! Comic Geek Speak, comic Geek Speak, comic Geek Speak, comic Geek Speak, comic Geek. Uniting the world's mightiest heroes, this is...
I'm Brian Chrisman.
I'm Adam Murdo.
And I'm Chris Everly.
Comic Geek Speak.
And welcome to the show. Yes, once again, it's time to go through the Previews catalog. In this case, it is the May 2017 Previews catalog for items shipping to stores mostly starting in July of 2017. But as always, the sponsors for our previous episodes is Discount Comic Book Service. Go to dcbservice.com for all your pre-ordering needs. Because right away, when you pre-order any DC or Marvel, Image or Dark Horse book, they are right away 40% off cover price. Most other publishers between 20 and 35% off cover price. And there are also many special DCBS runs where there will be sometimes 45, 50, 60, even up to 75% off cover price. And they also continue running their bundles, whether it's a Rebirth bundle, miniseries bundles for DC, Young Animal bundles, Valiant bundles, what have you. They'll put a lot of like titles together for one low price, so check that out. And, of course, they still have all new DC, Marvel trades and hardcovers are half off cover price. They offer shipping, whether it's weekly, twice monthly, or monthly, bags and boards. Wonderful service. We've been with them for quite some time, so check them out, dcbservice.com. All right, gentlemen, well, trying to keep things timely before we get jumping into the previous catalog. I have a few things I want to go over on the Eisner Award nominations that just came out the other day. Oh, just a couple of things, because it's an extensive list. Of course, the Eisners are essentially the Oscars of comics, basically.
Indeed.
For books that went out last year, 2016, and the awards are held every year at Comic-Con. So I want a couple of interesting noms. For Best Short Story, one of the nominees was Good Boy by Tom King David Finch from Batman Annual #1 that we read as an off-the-rack selection some time
Didn't you
ago.
just acquire a copy of that in Chicago the other day?
I did just acquire it for $1. So I'm very happy to add it to my collection. Now, listen to this lineup for Best Continuing Series nominees. Astro City by Kurt Busiek and Brett Anderson.
Thank you very much.
Kill or Be Killed by Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips. The Mighty Thor by Jason Aaron and Russell Dauterman. Paper Girls by Brian K. Vaughan and Cliff Chang. And Saga by
the sweet spot.
by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. Now that's a lineup.
Mm-hmm.
It sure is. And that is testament to how good comics are these days.
Yes.
Wow.
And the Best Limited Series, one of the nominees was The Vision by Tom King and Gabriel Walter. Listen to these nominees for Best New Series. Black Hammer by Jeff Lemire and Dean Ormston. Clean Room by Gail Simone and John Davis Hunt. Deathstroke Rebirth by Christopher Priest and Carlo Pagailan. It's et al.
Priest.
Faith by Jody Hauser, Perry Perez, and Marguerite Savage. And Mockingbird by Chelsea Kane and Kate Nimsick. Nice lineup there. And let's see, there was one or two other ones I wanted to bring to everyone's attention, if I could find it. Oh, listen to this lineup for Best Writer. Ed Brubaker, Criminal, 10th Anniversary Series, Kill or Be Killed, Velvet. Kurt Busiek, Astro City. Chelsea Kane for Mockingbird. Max Landis for Green Valley and Superman American Alien. Jeff Lemire, Black Hammer, Descender, Plutona, Bloodshot Reborn. And, of course, Brian K. Vaughan for Paper Girls and Saga. And those are just some of the nominees. There's all kinds of other categories, best writer artist, best painter, best publication, best webcomic, different age groups of all age books, graphic reprints. So you can check it out. Go to comiccon.com and look for Eisner Awards. Just want to highlight some of those nominees there because pretty interesting categories there.
A bit broader in their acknowledgments than we can afford to be here at CGS.
Yes, because
that's why they're the Oscars of comics, and we're whatever we are.
Yeah. So what are we exactly?
I'd prefer not to speculate.
Okay. And now, as this is being recorded, it's actually It's actually Star Wars Day, May the 4th.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
May the 4th be with you.
That's exactly right. And of course, coming up this Saturday, May 6th, is Free Comic Book Day. So hopefully this episode goes before then. It's a plan, fingers crossed. So Chris, you want to give one last push for your Free Comic Book Day sale at Wild Pig Comics.
Thanks, Pansy. Yes, once again, we'll be opening at noon till 6, 14 South Michigan Avenue, Kenilworth, New Jersey. 25% off all of our back issues and used trades. And as many people may have noticed from my posts online, I've bought an enormous Batman collection spanning the 1950s to the present. I've pulled over 30 wall books out of it. It's one of the best collections I've ever bought in my 18 years as a retailer. I urge anybody who's into Batman at any price level, because I got everything from very expensive higher grade keys to just 50-cent books. Please come to the shop. You will not be disappointed. In addition to the thousands and thousands of other back issues we've been putting into the bins over the past few weeks. 50% off our new trades. And of course, at 3 p.m., our raffle. Half the proceeds dedicated to the HERE initiative on the name of our beloved and departed comrade, Jamie D. We've posted all our raffle items both on the CGS forum page and on our Facebook page. Statues, artist editions, Batman, was it 133? I forgot what Batman book I had.
It was 133, yes.
Thank you, sir.
Which, as I've learned, here's a new wrinkle, Chris.
Uh-oh.
Batman number 133, in addition to having that Batmite, Bathound, and Batwoman cover, where he's Batmite's become Batwoman's publicist, it's also the first appearance of Kite Man. Hell yeah!
Get the hell out of here.
I'm not getting out of here, Brian.
Are you? Well, now, see, I already have the issue. So is it on your want list there, sir?
I think you may have a rival bidding for that.
No, I said I have it.
Oh, wow.
I'm not going to be bidding on it.
Okay, then you don't, in that case. Anybody else who bids on it will have me for a rival, because I am interested in that the particular raffle prize, Chris.
Honored, my friend.
Because you just bought the second appearance, didn't you, recently?
Yeah. Well, it's not counting reprints of Batman number 133.
Sure.
Yeah, Len Wein brought him back in 1979, I think it was. So, yeah, I picked that up at C2E2.
Yes.
Murr, I look forward to you entering the raffle trenches there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's look, we go all out to make it just a fun day. Of course, I have plenty of free comic books as well. I really go to great lengths to make the sale worthwhile for people coming from whatever distance. We've reorganized all our bins, so now all the 50-cent bins are divided now by all the major titles. It's even easier to shop through them. It's also easier for us to file. A lot more sticker comics, most of them below guide. We got about 60 books on the wall right now. I'm very proud of this, what we have for this sale. It's one of the best selections I've had in quite some time. So please join us on this Saturday, May 6th. And Pants and Murd will be in attendance, and that is reason alone
No,
to come to my humble shop.
That's not a reason to go. It's a reason to avoid the raffle.
Oh, come on. They want to bask in the legend.
Give me some elbow room there.
We're going to be throwing some bows.
And raffle tickets, I should mention, I'm going to forget, are $1 a piece. You can buy as many as you want, bid on whatever items you want as much as you want. And again, half the proceeds go to the HERO Initiative.
And they are also 6 for $5.
That's correct. Thanks for reminding me, Pants. We are running that special as well. So.
All right. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, we'll get a jump right in the previews catalog. Starting, I think, as we always do, with Dark Horse.
We should mention right off the bat, we're not doing off the rack for this month because we want to catch up with the ones we're still behind on. Plus, as Murd and I were discussing off the air, and again, just speaking for myself, this preview is a little light for me in terms of stuff that jumped out at me.
And I do share Chris's assessment there, too. This catalog's somewhat slim pickings.
Yeah. So, but be that as it may, let's plunge in. One thing I did note in this preview that's interesting is that there's a lot of great trades coming out or reissues of classic stories. For example, on page 45, they're reissuing Hardboiled. The Frank Miller, Jeff Darrow, Dave Stewart crime story. Was that from the 1980s? So long I've forgotten. But that was an Eisner Award winner. They're releasing that again in a hardcover. We've got a Mobius Library of the Art of Adina hardcover on page 44. God, Mobius's artwork is amazing.
I think Hard Boiled came out, I believe, in like 1990 to 92.
Thank you, sir.
Sort of that range.
That's about what I was thinking. It's a little bit before Rusty and the big guy in Rusty the Boy Robot, which was another Frank Miller collaboration.
If you're a fan of the show Rick and Morty, on page 48, they're doing the Art of Rick and Morty hardcover.
Now, Adam, did you watch that show at all? You seem to be in all of those kind of cartoons.
From time to time, yes. Now, Ian Levinstein and I were talking about it at C2E2. It's I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it.
Okay.
There are times when I just bust a gut laughing watching it. Other times when I kind of rue having tuned into it. It's complicated. I don't want to get too deeply into it. There's just certain stances taken by the writing staff that I don't approve of. But I like the show somewhat. We'll come back to the subject when we get to the Oni Press section of the catalog, in fact. But, this big fancy coffee table art books like this are not generally the kind of thing I buy.
Okay.
And I certainly don't – while I do enjoy Rick and Morty at times, I don't enjoy it $40 worth enough to pick up this book.
All right. Understood.
Looks like there's going to be some decent behind-the-scenes insights in it, in addition to development sketches and things like that. But it's like little paragraphs of prose about how Justin Roiland, who was one of the show creators, gave his input into how the creators should be developed. But yeah, again, I don't really particularly want to spend $40 on that.
Okay.
I want to point out on page 52 and 53, just these two pages. I'm enjoying blissful palpitations right now because you've got 3 of the best books being produced today, all from Dark Horse: Black Hammer, Rebels, and Briggsland. Jeff Lemire and Brian Wood with their artistic collaborators. These are all tremendous books. And the fact that they're right here before you, 1, 2, 3, what a one! It's like a comic chaser, just fantastic.
I did see there, Chris, on the description for Briggsland that it's currently in development for an AMC TV series.
Yes, yeah, they've been promoting that on the covers of the comic as well.
I was unaware of that.
I hope they do it justice. It's ready-made for a television show if they do it correctly. The next page, The Black Beetle. Beautiful artwork by Francesco Francavilla. Have you guys read this?
I'm not sure I read this particular story. It looks like it was serialized in Dark Horse Presents
a
while ago. I'm really not sure. I'd sign up to pre-order it anyway, if only for the fact that I noticed that it's 56 pages worth of content under a hardcover for $14.99. If they could have just published it as a normal comic book, 56 pages long, and sold it for more like $5.99, $6.99, I'd be all in. But as it stands, I think I'll pass, especially since I might already have the story in single issue form, as I said.
But the book is a tribute. It's a tribute to the Golden Age in a sense, isn't it, Murd? I've never read it.
Yeah, it's a pulp pastiche.
Okay.
Alliteration. Will you knock it off with alliteration there?
Well, the artwork on it is stunning. Oh,
Francesco is just a tremendous artist.
Yeah. And if you're a Buffy fan, on page 69, they're collecting the season 8, the first non-television season in comic book form, in an omnibus. I read season 8, loved it, and I unfortunately fell off in the midst of season 9. I have to somehow find my way back to that. But I thoroughly enjoyed season 8. Joss Whedon did writing for it, Brian K. Vaughan, Drew Goddard, Jeff Loeb. Great stuff. Anything else for Dark Horse, gentlemen?
On page 55, this is a hardcover collection of all 9 issues of The End League, which was published right around, I want to say like 2006, 2007. It was in the early days of Comic Geek Speak, and it was the first time I remember seeing Rick Remender's byline as a writer for anything. But it's the tale of a sort of a Justice League or Avengers type iconic superhero group in a post-apocalyptic landscape on a desperate quest for a magical item that might represent a last glimmer of hope for humanity. I remember I just sort of I used to picture the Ride of the Valkyries from Richard Wagner in my head as I read the first couple of issues of that. It took me a little while to assemble a whole run out of back issue bins, but I do have them all now, so I will not be ordering this hardcover, but I would encourage other people who've become fans of Mr. Remender's writing more recently to give this series a try. And on page 57, we've got another collected edition of something that Dark Horse has put out that I found enjoyable. Dean Motter's Mr. X, the story of sort of a vigilante architect who sets out to rescue the citizens of Radiant City from psychotropic architecture that is driving people mad, and for which he is partly responsible. So he bears that burden of guilt. And so Dean Motter's kind of a master of panel composition and building design, as you'd expect for a comic about architecture. So this trade collects, a little while ago they did a collection of the very early Mr. X material, some of which came out, I think, through Caliber Press. So this is early, it says here it collects every Mr. X comic ever published by Dark Horse Comics. So there's a couple of mini-series included in there. It's called Mr. X: The Modern Age. And it does carry my recommendation.
I like that cover. It's a little Eisner-esque with, putting the
right
letters of the title in the background.
Incorporating the text into the background structures. Yeah, you're right. That is Eisner-esque.
DC, gentlemen?
Yes. Jump on to DC.
I have to admit, I don't have a lot to say about the monthlies here. I'm actually reading a handful of DC titles regularly at this point. Deathstroke, Aquaman, couple others. I mean, I'm sure when we finish the Button story, we'll talk about that on the air. But that's still ongoing at the moment. So,
well, it looks like this Dark Days event. I don't really have a very strong handle on what exactly it's supposed to be.
Nor do I.
It's kind of amorphous at this point. But yeah, on page 78.
I beg your pardon?
Amorphous, shapeless, formless.
Dumb it down for pants. Dumb it down for pants.
Me not know what this event's going to do. But yeah, whatever they're doing with it in July is contained in this 40-page one-shot, Dark Days, the Casting. And it's got Hal Jordan and Batman and the Joker on the cover. And it's written by Scott Snyder and James Tynion the Fourth. We now definitive evidence that that's how the man's name is pronounced. Thanks again to C2E2. And art by Jim Lee, Andy Kubert, John Romita Jr., and others. So it's probably going to be a pretty good read. So I think we decided that the other Dark Days one-shot was going to be
maybe it was The Forge?
I'll believe that. Whatever it was, it's an off-the-rack for the month of June. But for July, we're just going to mention it and not discuss it in detail on an off-the-racks episode. On page 81, I know you always talk about the Aquaman series as written by Dan Abnett, Chris, but the cover of this issue is just captivating.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Got the New 52 Dolphin on there, teaming up with Aquaman.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
Well, now, is that the New 52 Dolphin or the Rebirth Dolphin? I mean, seriously, was there a dolphin in the middle? Post-Flashpoint, pre-Rebirth?
Well, I hadn't got the impression that we'd really gone into a different continuity between there. But
possibly. Well, I mean...
if you ask a DC representative, they'd probably say it was the Rebirth Dolphin, but... either way, it's post-Flashpoint either way. So
that's true.
Let's say it's the post-Flashpoint Dolphin, and she looks really cool in this painted cover.
Okay. We can do that.
At least I think it's a painted cover. If it isn't, it looks like it.
I want to point on page 89, because we just mentioned how Christopher Priest's Deathstroke was nominated for Best New Series for the Eisners, deservedly so. This issue is getting into how Priest is going to take Slade on a journey where he's going to try to become some sort of hero. You look at the illustration on page 89, he's forming his own team. Now, in the hands of a lesser writer, this would probably be really insipid, but it's Priest, so I can't wait to see what he's going to do with this. I highly recommend the series. You got to stay with it. It's a slow burn, but as he builds, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it looks like Deathstroke is leading a little group of Teen Titans cast-offs here, including both his children, Rose Wilson and Jericho. And the cover is very, very Kevin Maguirean. I wonder if Shane has noticed that.
Page 91, The Flash is a very compelling premise. The running scared story. Barry Allen and Iris West witness a chilling vision of the future courtesy of the Reverse Flash, reveals the couple's legendary romance will yield only darkness for the world of tomorrow. Now Thawne forces the Flash to make a choice, spend forever alone or doom the future. Always a sucker for stories like that, if they're well told. Let's see here.
I'm going to jump ahead to page 111.
Go for it.
How about this? Batman 66 meets the Legion of Superheroes one-shot.
Wow. Missed this. Pants.
Written by Lee Allred and art and cover by Mike Allred. Oh.
That is a thing.
Oh, my gosh.
That is a thing that I will be buying.
Yes. Look at that cover. Oh, there's a time bubble.
There is a time bubble.
How about that?
Tailor-made for the people in this discussion. I tell you what.
All right, now I am extremely limited in my Legion lore. Alliteration, got you there, Mert. But in the bubble, from left to right, is that Nocturnal Lass or something?
Shadow Lass.
Shadow Lass. I knew it was her last.
Tasmia Malor of Talok 8.
Is that
Chameleon Boy, Reek Daggle of Durla.
Phantom Girl?
Right. Tinya Wazo of Big
Oh,
Silk.
stop it!
No.
Feral Lad is next. And, of course, Brainiac 5 and Saturn Girl.
Yes and yes.
Oh, and on the previous page, page 110, Wonder Woman 26, 27, the first issues in the post-Rucka era, written by Shea Fontana. But, of course, when we saw Rucka at C2E2, he's just sort of taking a break from the character. He may come back at some point. And, of course, there's no nefariousness in his leaving. He's just...
No, he just wants to be truer to his obligations to other series he's writing, like Lazarus.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, he
Lazarus, one of the best books out today.
Yep, he all but said he will probably come back to Wonder Woman at some later time.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. I missed that. I'm definitely going to add that to my order.
Coming back to the subject of Allreds, on page 121, another comic written by Lee Allred with art by Michael Allred is the third issue of the Bug, The Adventures of Forager miniseries, drawing on characters from the Kirby Fourth World. And this issue features a guest appearance by a somewhat obscure Kirby creation, Atlas. Also,
that's right.
He sort of had a cameo appearance in Kingdom Come a bunch of years ago. James Robinson used him in his Superman run.
That's right. Wasn't he also in the first appearance series in the 70s?
Oh, the first issue special?
First issue special, thank you.
I think so, yeah.
I call Atlas Unleashed or something like that.
Well, he's out in a story with the deliciously Randian title, Atlas Bugged.
Now, this Bug, is this the character that also appeared in Countdown?
Almost certainly, yeah.
Okay.
It's the Forager.
That's what I thought.
Member of he was originally like a part of this weaponized race of insect-like micro-life that Darkseid uses in his conquests. But he evolved a conscience and joined the New Gods. And now he's having an adventure on his own, created by the Allred family.
Okay.
And we'll talk about the first issue as an off-the-rec pick, I believe.
Indeed. You guys ready for trades?
Go right ahead, Chris.
So to point out on page 129, they're doing a Clayface retrospective, starting with the work of Bill Finger, who is the co-creator of Batman, not Bob Kane with Bill Finger. It was Bob Kane and Bill Finger. Actually, I would rather say Bill Finger and Bob Kane. But anyway, they're doing a whole host of stories here throughout Clayface's history. So if you're a Clayface fan, this is quite a collection. Then we have, of course, continuing to reprint Rucka's current Wonder Woman run. We're also reprinting Batman Shadow of the Bat, which was a 90s series, all of which you'll find in our 50-cent bins at Wild Pick Comics this Saturday for 37 cents with our 25% discount. The next page, I love these. The Batman the Golden Age Volume 3. I love the cover designs on these books.
Absolutely.
They're fantastic. They're so evocative of the era from which they're coming. This collects Batman 8 through 11, Detective Comics 57 to 65, and World's Finest Comics 4 through 6. If anybody wants to, I guess, spend the money, you can get Nightfall Omnibus, or you can just go to any comic book shop and get them for like $0.25 a piece, but there you go.
Page 132, Grayson, the Super Spy Omnibus hardcover.
Excellent series. Excellent. Tom King and Tim Seeley, chronicling Dick Grayson's tenure as a intelligence agent for Spiral. I love this series. In fact, I just created I packaged it, all the originals as at the shop for our sale.
Excellent.
Great story. And below that, Legends of the Dark Knight, Jim Aparo, Volume 3. Over 500 pages of Jim Aparo's work on Batman.
I tend to think of him as my personal definitive Batman artist.
As do I, yes.
Many do. On page 134, if you didn't get a chance to read The Dark Side War, they are doing an omnibus, $75 over 500 pages. I really enjoyed this story. I only just read it just a few months ago. Great Jeff Johns. He has a great handle on history and also just on being able to be the architect of a crossover like this. It was really had a great epic feel. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And Jeff Lemire is doing a Teen Titans Earth 1 Volume 2 on page 135. DC is doing a lot of great trades in recent months. Page 136, you get the Newsboy Legion by Simon and Kirby Volume 2 hardcover. Look at that, Pansy. Mm-hmm. Murd loves his kid gangs.
I did not know that.
Neither did I.
You always talk with such fondness about the history of the kid gangs, Murd.
I'm glad they exist. I don't necessarily enjoy reading their stories. But
fair enough. But no one uses the phrase kid gangs better.
Thank you, Chris.
Below that, New Teen Titans Volume 7. This reprints the classic Judas Contract storyline featuring Deathstroke and, of course, Terra. Great stuff. Oh. In fact, I didn't realize DC just did an animated movie of this, the Judas Contract.
Yeah, I saw a couple of the TV spots for it, but it didn't look like something I really wanted to be watching.
Yeah, I think it's a direct-to-DVD. I have not seen it yet.
It's pretty strongly inflected in the direction of the contemporary interpretations of the characters. It's not really very Wolfman and Perezian. Like, for example, the Damian Wayne version of Robin. You've got Raven in there saying Azarath Metrion Zinthos like she does in the cartoons on television. Yeah, so if you're a fan of the original story, you may be disappointed or even offended by what they put on DVD.
Well, Murd, if I do end up watching, I will happily give a report on the air.
I look forward to that, Chris.
You bet. Page 137, the Swamp Thing, the Bronze Age Omnibus. Mm. So this is all of his early appearances. We're starting with House of Secrets 92. Mm-hmm. Good stuff. And we should mention, of course, that the great Bernie Wrightson passed recently. And he, of course, is famous, among other things, for his Swamp Thing work from the Bronze Age. My first exposure to Wrightson was when he did the Spider-Man graphic novel Hooky in the 1980s. His art just literally blew the top off my head.
Seriously, sir.
Yeah. not literally, but figuratively blew the top off your head.
Yeah, I should have said figuratively, but it was close. I mean, my eyes were agog at his artwork, and I'm so sorry to hear that he passed. Great artist.
Absolutely.
All right, on to IDW.
Unless somebody has any Vertigo to talk about.
Oh,
no?
Sorry.
Well, page 141, we've got the end of the long-running Broken Man arc in Astro City number 46, which I've been enjoying quite a bit, as the little dribs and drabs of long-teased Astro City mysteries have been bubbling to the surface. So finding out what exactly is up with the Broken Man will be sweet release.
All right, IDW, Pansy.
All right.
Well, on page 154, if you love TMNT and Usagi Yojimbo, they're teaming up. Writer-artist Stan Sakai.
It looks like a 48-page one-shot for $8, probably less at DCBService.com. So, Brian Deemer, take note. This is for you.
Indeed, I was thinking that as well. Whenever I look at IDW, I just think, God, this is Shane's company. But they've got, Mask, Transformers.
ROM versus Transformers.
Yep. G.I. Joe. Now they have Dungeons and Dragons, Clue, Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, Star Trek, of course. Give them props. They've cornered the market on unlicensed properties. Let me see if there's anything. Oh, there's one thing I really wanted to mention. Let me find it. Okay, on page 177. Oh. Artist edition. P. Craig Russell. Look at this, Pantaloons.
I see it.
So the complete stories with Don McGregor, by the way, and Mark Andreyko doing the writing. So you've got Marvel graphic novel number 7, which he did with McGregor. It was the first and the final Killraven collaboration between the two. Killraven, of course, first appeared in Amazing Adventures. And Doctor Strange, what is it that disturbs you, Stephen? P. Craig Russell's art is so gorgeous. His line work, his take on sort of fantasy worlds and landscapes, magic. One of the great classic artists of the Bronze Age and beyond. I don't know if I can get this because my budget is limited, but I may have to break because this looks stunning. Absolutely stunning. Oh, what a master. Again, props to IDW for continuing this wonderful series. It's always one of the most exciting things in the previous catalog. And then on page 178, not to get political, I'm just going to point it out, they've got Shit My President Says, the illustrated tweets of Donald J. Trump.
Oh, by Shannon Wheeler of Too Much Coffee Man.
Oh, that's right. FDR at radio, JFK at TV, Trump has Twitter. looks like he's creating illustrations literally based on the president's, nearly innumerable tweets.
I think that is exactly what he's doing, yeah.
This looks extremely interesting. That's all I'll say about that. Let's see here. Oh, this is interesting. On page 182, The Art of the Pulps. This is one of the books I wanted to point out, actually. A team of experts in each of the 10 major pulp genres, from action pulps to spicy pulps and more. Chart for the first on the complete history of pulp magazines, the stories and their writers, the graphics and their artists, and of course the publishers, their market and readers. Wow. Our friend and colleague Matt should get this.
It is certified cool.
Yeah, that looks like an invaluable resource. I may have to pick that up. That looks really interesting. I have to put that on my list. We've got to let Matt know about that.
Oh, he knows.
I keep forgetting about his detecting skills.
He has his sources.
Page 184, if you're a fan also of Pulp Sax Romer, who gave us, Fu Manchu, for example. This is his story, Dope, adapted and illustrated by Trina Robbins. Anything else for IDW, gentlemen?
A couple of things of interest.
Go for it.
Let's see. On page 169, we've got what looks to be a new horror anthology in the vein of House of Mystery or House of Secrets. It's called Diablo House, and our host is a spooky surfer named Riley. So it looks like this is an anthology that's looking to give you a chronic case of the coastal creeps. So that's, I'm not that much into horror comics generally, but if they can combine a coastal vibe with traditional comic book spook shows, I might give it a try. On page 172, for those of you who are feeling nostalgic for cosmic comic storytelling 90s style, we've got Dread Gods, which is a new series written by Ron Mars, formerly of Green Lantern and Silver Surfer, with art by Tom Rainey and Bart Sears, other 90s notables. So, there's a variant cover by Neil Adams, no less. So, yeah, that is something else I might be checking out of nostalgia. And on page 175, by one of our creator friends who has appeared on the show in the past, Tom Zoller, also works for IDW on their My Little Pony line of stuff, and he's the creator of Love and Capes. Time and Vine, which is a story that combines time travel and enophilia. So if you enjoy...
And what? Oh, you and your book learning. Knock it off.
Wine fancy.
Again, dumb it down for pants.
Okay. Time travel and wine tasting, wine drinking, wine appreciation.
I'm kidding. Don't dumb it down for pants. Use your knowledge for power.
Okay. Anyway, it's a 48-page one-shot for $4.99. It's about a magical winery where if you drink just the right glass of wine in the right room, you get transported back to the point in time when that wine was bottled. It's an interesting concept.
It is. Now, in fact, you're pointing that out because I overlooked that for the creator alone because I very much enjoyed 11 Capes and I enjoyed Long Distance. So, yeah, I wrote it down because I didn't do my order yet. So that's going to be on my list. Well, the DC Image just updated like yesterday. So I had to...
It's such a rare thing we catch you before you have
well,
placed your order.
Oh, yeah. Woo, fancy.
Ooh, well, look.
Our chance to influence your buying
Well,
habits.
yeah. So, I would add this. So I'm definitely Time and Vine is on my list now. All right. Now on to Image, gentlemen.
Indeed.
All right.
On page 194, we have a new series called Moonstruck, which Image is featuring as their Gem of the Month, or previously saying as the Gem of the Month. Lumberjanes creator Grace Ellis, talented newcomer Shay Beagle. Tells the story of monsters, romance, and magical hijinks. Looks like it's set in a coffee shop. Could be whimsical fun. Page 196, Sacred Creatures #1, Pablo Raimondi, Klaus Janson. Wow. Doing the story. Pablo Raimondi doing the art. When the supernatural forces maintain the fragile balance of power in this world start to unravel, Josh Mill, young college grad and expectant father, is caught in the middle of a vast conspiracy threatening to tear apart the foundations of humanity as we know it. As myth and reality collide, Josh finds himself in the front line of the battle against an enemy dating back to the beginning of time itself. Well, Pablo Raimondi I know his work from the Books of Doom. So he's a damn great artist. And Kelly Johnson, of course, is a comic legend. So I may check this out. Artwork is stunning on this. Whoa. I have a lot of trades I want to talk about, unless you guys have other floppies you want to mention in Image.
I think all the floppies I'm buying from Image are just continuing series, so let's hightail it to
Actually,
the trades.
I'm sorry, Marty, I take that back. The two things I should commit seppuku immediately here.
Don't be quite so hard on yourself, Chris.
Well, like blown off the top of my head, but in a figurative sense. Page 206, Lazarus X plus 66, number 1. This is a supplemental story that takes place between the last fantastic arc, Column, and the upcoming one, Fracture. So if you're interested in the role of Lazarus, X year refers to when the corporate families began to take over the Earth, essentially, and governments began to dissolve. So this follows one of the characters as she tries to make her way in the hierarchy of one of the families. So to me, Lazarus is easily one of the best comics being published today. If listeners have not given it a try and you enjoy, geopolitical intrigue, it's Rucka. I mean, I don't need to say much more than that. It's some of the best work of Michael Lark's career. Get the trades. It's tremendous. And I also wanted to mention, I'm very excited about this. I have to tell my old friend Ryan, because he's a big fan of this. Mage, the Hero Denied, number 0. So Wagner is now completing his trilogy. Mage first appeared in the 1980s, and the Hero Discovered, the Hero Defined, and now we have the Hero Denied. Kevin Matchstick and his ventures, able to wield the power of the mystical weapon Excalibur. This is one of Wagner's great works. I don't want to say too much more about it because I don't want to spoil it if you have people who have not read the original arcs. But it's the hero's journey in the hands of Matt Wagner. Read it. I'm so excited for this. And on page 210, this is my introduction to Jason Aaron. The Other Side. This is the first time I read his work. This is an outstanding Vietnam War story. They're giving it a special edition hardcover treatment. This is a fantastic war comic because obviously it looks at it from both the American and the North Vietnamese perspective. Art by Cameron Stewart. Great story. Highest recommendation. All right, now Marvel. What was the term you used before, Murd, when we were off the air about crossovers?
Oh, the summer crossover blues.
Yes. So we're still in the Secret Empire, which that's still dominating the Marvel catalog. Now, again, I'm really enjoying what Nick Spencer's doing with Captain America, so I'm looking forward to this story. I'm obviously not going to read, every single offshoot of it because it's way too expensive, and I'm always have very dubious feelings toward a lot of the crossover offshoots. But I'm definitely going to read the main story. And we should mention the beginnings of it is coming out on Free Comic Book Day. Actually, there's going to be a Secret Empire FCBD book, so look for that if you're interested. I got to be honest, gentlemen. I don't have a lot to say for Marvel this month. I mean, I have some trades I want to talk about, but a lot of this is ongoing stuff, either we were reading or not reading. I was sorry to see Jason Aaron's leaving Doctor Strange. No offense to the successor, but that's a book I'll drop now just to save money. Again, this my old age. I'm really just following writers more than I'm following really even characters at this point.
Yeah, I'm not getting too much from Marvel, but let me just read this on page. What page is this? I'm going to jump ahead to page 68. This is Silver Surfer number 13. Let me just read the solicit for this. This is just amazing. Once upon a time, a strange device scanned the Silver Surfer and found him the one being who was his, quote, most important person in the universe, end quote, Dawn Greenwood. And it turned out he was her most important person in the universe, too. This is a story of a love that ended before it started and began after it ended. But is it a love that can outlast the universe? Because the universe is about to go away. For real. Wow. I mean, this is my favorite comics on the stands right now.
Absolutely, without question. Absolutely.
And the art with Allred and Dan Slott's writing, it's just top of my pile all the time. So very much looking forward to this.
what's wonderful is because if you look at the visual, it's Norrin and Dawn, elderly.
Yes.
In each other's arms. And what I love about the solicitation, it's just cryptic enough you're not sure where this is going to go.
Yep.
But as the cover always says, what is it? Hang on, anytime, anywhere, something like that. The cover blurb, the ad that we should have in the front of the Silver Surfer comics.
Oh, I can't think of the top of my head.
Yeah, but that's the way I always feel when I read this book. It's easily one of the most innovative books Marvel has going right now, and there's such a love for the character and his history. But yet, again, the mark of a great creative team, they're doing something new without disrespecting what's old. And great series. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Pants. I actually wanted to jump back. One thing I missed that I wanted to mention, page 26, Spider-Man 2, number 1. Spider-Man, I should say, 2, number 1, by Bendis and Pichelli. If you read the first Spider-Man miniseries some years back where Peter and Miles Morales meet, now, as you know, Miles Morales is in the 616 universe. And this is an interesting premise. Apparently, they're going to explain who was the Miles Morales who was originally in the 616 universe. So that could be an interesting story in the hands of Bendis.
Indeed it could. So if you're a fan of alternate Earth paradoxes and the like, Earth 1, Earth 2 type stuff, this is a story you should probably be reading. And I guess I'm talking to myself when I say that because I find those things interesting.
Yeah, I'm probably going to check it out. I also wanted to mention again I'm really much looking forward to, these haven't come out yet, but David Walker's take on Luke Cage, Bendis' take on the Defenders. I'm really looking forward to The Crew by Ta-Nehisi Coates and Butch Guice about Black Panther, Misty Knight, Storm, and Luke Cage.
If I may interject for a minute, it's Butch.
Please.
Butch Guice.
Butch Guice, thank you.
No problem.
Consider a quarter put in the jar.
Yes, so let me fish. Do I have a quarter in my pocket? No, I'll do that later. Oh, I got a penny. Put it right down there as a down payment.
Right.
But there's a lot of good stuff here that I'm looking forward to reading. I'm really enjoying Lemire's Thanos immensely. Thanos, as we've discussed, is quote dying in this story, and we're just interested to see the journey he's on there. There's a lot of good stuff here, but there's also a lot of stuff that just doesn't grab me either because of just money, time, or I'm just not interested in this event or that event. Although I'm looking forward to Cable by James Robinson. Issue 1 of that should be coming out soon. But I want to turn your attention to page 89. Look at that breathtaking cover by Mike May.
I was just going to point that out.
Again, the Star Wars flag title by Jason Aaron. Just for me, it's been essentially flawless. And we turn the page. We're going to be looking forward to talking about the new Darth Vader series by Charles Soule. And this premise sounds interesting. Vader sets his sight, this is issue 3, on a Jedi who's avoided Order 66. A Jedi Master is long lived in seclusion. A Jedi more powerful than any Vader has faced before. Immediately. Looking forward to that. Star Wars books are so good. Ugh.
Speaking of Charles Soule, I'm going to jump backwards for a sec here to pages 24 and 25. Mr. Soule is going to be writing another X-Men ongoing monthly. It's Astonishing X-Men, volume 4 or 5, whatever we're up to now, with art by Jim Cheung. This is another team of X-Men. It's going to involve a version of Logan, of course, because there's some kind of bylaw about that. And Bishop, Rogue, Gambit, Psylocke, some 90s favorites. Mystique is in there, too, and apparently Warren Worthington has got his Metal Archangel wings back again, and Grant Morrison's Phantom X character as well. And they appear to be going up against the Shadow King, as seen in FX's Legion series. So that's going to be somewhat exciting, to see Charles Soule's take on some mutants. And I just wanted to throw in, too, on page 37, there's a Spider-Man one-shot called Spider-Man Master Plan, in which Spider-Man goes up against the classic Silver Age spider foe, the Crime Master.
Oh, I missed that. Nice, Murd. What page is that on?
That's on page 37. Oh, and it includes a reprinting of the first appearance of the Vulture. So it's 40 pages for $3.99. At least you're not paying anything extra for the reprint of that Vulture story. Oh,
I'm looking at page... Go ahead, Murd. Go ahead.
On page 69, Unbeatable Squirrel Girl number 22, Squirrel Girl goes to the Savage Land. Enough said. Okay, Chris, back to you.
No, I'm just pointing out on page 131... I haven't read this, but I heard a lot of good things about the Journey into Mystery run from 2011, which featured Sif.
Oh, yes.
Did you read that, Pants?
I did, actually. Yes, I enjoyed that very much.
I think we might have done the first issue of that as an off-the-rack.
Yeah.
It's Kelly Sue DeConnick and Catherine Immonen. Pencils by Ryan Stegman. Valerie Sheedy and Pepe Larraz. I may get that because I heard a lot of good things about it. And I just got the Pants seal of approval, so... On Murd, this is up your alley. Page 139. Avengers Epic Collection, Operation Galactic Storm.
Looking behind me.
Other side.
Oh, we've been... Yeah, I was looking at the CGS library behind me here, which has been reorganized recently, apparently. But our friend Matt, at some point in the past when library binding was still a thing and they were a sponsor of ours, he got a collected edition of the Operation Galactic Storm.
I see it on the shelf.
Yep, custom made for him. So, if that were not right there at my fingertips, I might indeed consider buying this handsome and hefty trade collection, 488 pages of 90s Avengers cosmic adventure. Sort of inspired by the Operation Desert Storm zeitgeist of the time.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this story, and I always try to collect the issues as a pack to sell, because the back issues are not expensive. It's a good cosmic crossover. On page 141, Great Defenders by J.M. DeMatteis, Don Perlin, Steve Grant. I got to read. I've never read the full Defenders run. That's something I want to do because I know there's like Gerber wrote some Defenders, which are supposed to be really fun and wacky. Some interesting stuff there. I like Marvel's Epic collections. You get a pretty good bang for your buck. They're $40, but they're all over 400 pages. Well over in many cases. Anything else for Marvel, gentlemen?
None for me.
Yep, I think that'll do it for me, too.
All right. The rest of the book.
As always, I'm going to point out from Abstract Studios on page 254, the next issue of Motor Girl Solicited. However, don't read the solicit if you don't want to be spoiled, because I just glanced at it, and I thought I was caught up, but I did not know what was mentioned in the solicit. I'm like, crap.
Thank you, my friend. I'm putting my hand over it now. I will not peer at it.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Maybe it wasn't, but I thought I was up to my reading, but, rats are frats is bad. So, spoilers, curse you, solicit people. But anyway.
It's a great series.
Fantastic stuff.
Yeah. On page 264, the Aftershock, again, continues to command, interesting premises and great creators. So we have Unholy Grail by Cullen Bunn, writing, and Mirko Kolak, artist. Arthur Pendragon was the king of all Britain. His story is legendary. Merlin, the Lady of the Lake, Excalibur, Camelot, Knights Round Table. But these stories are bright lies painted over the truth. Here is presented the gospel of Arthur's bloody rise to power and his unholy reign. The legend of King Arthur is not the stuff of legends, but the fuel of nightmares. Very interesting. I like when they deconstruct things. I may check that out. I didn't even realize there's a King Arthur movie coming out in a few weeks. And those are the things they especially want to point out from the rest of the book before I hold forth on certain things.
If I see, I'll jump in if I see anything catches my eye.
Well, again, if you want to get political, on page 283, from Antarctic Press, The Tremendous Trump. Alt facts as you like it. I hope satire is being done well here. On page, go ahead, Mert. Go ahead.
Well, a note from Archie.
Yes.
On page 288. Were you going to say something about that?
No, you go right ahead.
Okay.
You read my mind. Go ahead.
Well, Archie, it seems to be going a couple of different directions here, which is good, just keeping all their bases covered. All the new, innovative, progressive type things they're doing with their characters. Now they're doing what they're calling all-new classic Archie, which is kind of midway between like old-fashioned Archie and the new things that they're doing. It's called All-New Classic Archie, Your Pal Archie #1, written by Ty Templeton with art by classic Archie artist Dan Parent. And so, it's kind of having your cake and eating it, too, with this new series.
How about that? Yes. Well put, sir.
Well, if you're a Power Rangers fan, from Boom on page 306, they're doing a Power Rangers comic. Did that movie come and go already?
I believe it did, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, but if you want to check out Go Go Power Rangers, it's 50% off at dcbservice.com.
All right, very excited for this on page 309. War for the Planet of the Apes. What matters here is being written by David Walker, which means I'm buying it immediately. Outstanding.
Prequel to the upcoming blockbuster film.
Yes. Definitely going to check that out. I love Walker's work.
On the facing page, page 308, it's kind of an exploitation concept. Sisters of Sorrow. It's about a bunch of women who are public volunteers in the inner city who do that by day and by night go around killing people who have victimized women.
It sounds like it could be good exploitive fare there, my friend. All right, if Danielle are here, she want to mention this. On page 334 from Dynamite, Betty Page #1. Covers by Terry Dotson. Writer David Avallone, artist Colton Worley. The Secret Diary of Betty Page in handy comic book form.
Yeah, it sort of makes me wonder what kind of plot they're going to cook up for something like this.
It's a good question.
But if you want to find out, you can get it for half off at dcbservice.com.
And if you love your nostalgia video game-wise, on page 336 from Dynamite, Centipede #1 from Atari.
Oh, my goodness.
Geez, they're even offering, like as a kind of a free comic shop giveaway, a reproduction of the old little ash can 5-inch by 7-inch comic book that was packaged with the old Atari video cartridge.
That's right. Sci-fi, horror, and action collide in a comic for fans of Aliens, The Thing, and Predator. So, now this is exciting. On page 338, written by Fred Van Lente, Green Hornet 66 meets The Spirit. That's artist by Bob Q, covers by Mike and Laura Allred. And Ty Templeton and Javier Polito do covers. I might give this a shot.
Yeah, this is one of those character mashups that Dynamite is so fond of doing. And I might pass it over, except I notice it's written by Fred Van Lente, so that's mark of quality right there.
Look at Polito's pants. Look at Polito's cover on page 339.
Let me see here.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh, and that telltale purple glove in the middle. You know what that means. The octopus strikes.
Yes. That's awesome. Great cover. I've been enjoying on page 342 Dynamite's take on James Bond. We have a new story by Andy Diggle of Losers fame. Everything they've done with Bond and Felix Leiter I've been enjoying thoroughly, so I'm going to pick this up without hesitation.
And you see on the next page, Kyle Higgins is writing a Justice Inc. miniseries. Ooh,
I missed that, Murd. Thank you. I've been enjoying Kyle Higgins' work on, of course, The Cowl, Hadrian's Wall. I may give that a shot as well. Good eye by the Murdo.
Mm-hmm. I'm here for you, Chris.
Thanks, brother. I know that. Let's see. I wanted to talk about, this is way ahead. Tomorrow's is doing some great stuff. But if you guys have things before that, please shout out.
I probably do, but it'd take me a couple of seconds to find them.
That's okay, because I can actually something from Fantagraphics on page 366.
All right.
I'm really enjoying, again, they did a wonderful job paying tribute to the EC stories by reprinting these beautiful hardcover editions. The Thing from the Grave and Other Stories by Joe Orlando and Al Feldstein with Ray Bradbury. I mean, what else do you need to say there? My God. 30 EC classics in this collection. So that's probably well worth picking up. I was going to talk about the wonderful stuff Tomorrow's going to be has in the catalog this month. You guys mind if I jump ahead there?
Go right ahead.
All right. So, as many listeners don't know, it's Jack Kirby's 100th birthday this year. And Tomorrow's is doing a series of things in honor of that, if I could find the damn page.
About page 445.
You know, see,
or 444.
There's moments where you get that chill, you know, when Murd speaks in a rhapsodic fashion, but also when Pants delivers the clutch moment. That was one of those moments.
Wow. That's all it took?
You know,
that's all it took for me to not pay attention and go ahead to other parts of the book while you were yapping on about other stuff.
You know, you could have a bad day, but when you know your friends are there when you need them, faith is restored. Now, on page 444, Kirby 100. Tomorrow's the Jack Kirby Collector magazine celebrate Jack Kirby's 100th birthday in style with the release of Kirby 100, a full-color visual holiday for the King of Comics. Features an all-star lineup of 100 comic pros who critique key images from Kirby's 50-year career. Listen to this. This is roll call of glory. Bruce Timm, Alex Ross, Walter Simonson, John Byrne, Alan Davis, Joe Sinnott, Steve Rude, Adam Hughes, Wendy Pini, or Penny. Is that Pini or Penny?
I don't know for certain, but I want to say Pini. That would follow the rules of attack.
Pini. John Romita Sr., Dave Gibbons, Pickwick Russell. Wow. $34. Softcover, limited hardcover, $45. I'm getting limited hardcover, ladies and gentlemen. Hell yeah. It's Kirby. Jack Kirby Collector 72 celebrates, it's called Kirby's Fight Club, showcasing Jack's most powerful fights and in-your-face action. You have a lot to choose from there, my God. But look at this pants. Back issue 99. God, Tomorrow's is just the best. Celebrates Batman the Animated Series' 25th anniversary. Oh, wow.
What will they do for issue 100, says I, for the next time around?
Good question. And Alter Ego 148 takes a look at the classic New York comic book convention held in June 2000 with the greatest line of golden and silver age talent ever assembled at a single con. God, I missed that one.
Yes. Now, Adam, right in front of you should be a Tomorrow's book that just came into the studio.
Oh, yes. Yes, I absolutely...
Well, not right in front of you, but...
well,
I have a copy of that as well.
You see what it is?
Of course I do.
Well, tell them what it is.
Okay. Hero a Go-Go. Campy comic books, crime fighters, and culture of the swingin' 60s. And right there, front cover center, you've got the MF Enterprises version of the Milton Fast Captain Marvel, the Split Captain, the android from outer space who has the power to make his arms and legs fly around when he says the magic word split. And there's Nemesis from the American Comics Group. There's Super Lyndon Baines Johnson on the covers. Silly, colorful stuff. It's written by Tomorrow's own Michael Urey, and it's something that I saw in the previews catalog a few months ago and wanted a copy of in the worst way, and now we've got one.
Yes, we do.
Of our very own.
How about that?
I may need to arm wrestle you.
No, I'm not going to anywhere near you. Your strange powers you have. So.
Actually, Murr, when you come to my house, you can look at my copy as well.
Oh, you ordered one from the catalog?
Hell yeah. I pretty much order every Tomorrow's book. With rare exception.
It's a good, healthy practice.
Indeed it is. And speaking of great history, on page 478, they've reissued the classic biography Kirby King of Comics by Mark Evanier, who actually knew Kirby. This is a wonderful biography of Kirby's life and work, and it's been revised and expanded for his centennial. I'm going to pick that up.
All right, I'm going to backtrack a little bit here. Chris, on page 390, this is something that might interest you. It's coming out from the new Lion Forge superhero universe. They're continuing their Catalyst Prime summer event, introducing their new line of characters. A series called Superb, which is written by David Walker. And
getting it.
Okay. Say no more. It's a story of a young woman who is moving back into her hometown of Youngstown, Ohio, which apparently has been devastated by the Catalyst event that has created superheroes in this Lion Forge universe. And it's a story of her sort of adapting to what's happened to her hometown and the fact that there's now apparently a superhero active in it who is not only working against crime but also against a seemingly benevolent corporation that's active in Youngstown. And I've driven past Youngstown a few times on my way to and from grad school in days past. It's for a time there, it was ranked as one of the murder capitals of the country. So it's not often seen as a setting for a superhero comic. But
roll your windows up.
Roll them up. Yep.
Yeah, roll them up.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what Walker does with that as a setting for a book like this. So I will definitely try the first issue. Yeah, so they're doing some interesting things there to get their universe off the ground at Lions Forge. They've also got a line of kids' books, which they call, the Cub House. There we go. It's a lion pun. And on pages 394 and 395, there's sort of a young adult miniseries called Claudia and Rex, about two girls and their mother who wander into an Oz-like fantasy world. The preview pages feature what I'm pretty sure is a 240 Volvo station wagon. So that's a pretty good way to get Adam Murdo to pay attention to your book, by drawing that model Volvo into it. Page 400, coming back to Rick and Morty, which is a concept I know well and sometimes love and sometimes not so much. But we've got a 5-issue miniseries here called Rick and Morty Pocket Like You Stole It. This is based not only on the Rick and Morty cartoon show, but on the Adult Swim gaming app called Pocket Mortys, which is like Pokemon, but with versions of Morty. The Rick and Morty. It's about a alcoholic mad scientist and his grandson and the adventures they have jumping around through different parallel dimensions.
I guess my question to you is, how do you know about a mobile game?
Because I saw commercials for it on Adult Swim.
All right, that's all I need.
I certainly didn't download it.
That's what I was getting at. Okay,
but it's probably in the top 5 mobile app gaming things that I would download if I did such things.
Okay,
because it's Pokemon, so it's part Rick and Morty, part Pokemon, and I'm sure they'll find room for satire of the all too prominent role that such silly, time-sucking games have assumed in our society nowadays. So yes, I will. For all those reasons, I think I will probably buy that 5-issue miniseries. As indeed, I have not yet missed an issue of Oni Press's Rick and Morty ongoing series, issue number 28, coming out this July. Yeah, it's an interdimensional cable story. On the cartoon show, the interdimensional cable episodes are when it's just Rick and Morty sitting there channel flipping through TV, and there's these different ridiculous premises. And Justin Roiland, one of the show creators, who also does the voices of both Rick and Morty, just ad-libs a bunch of weird crap to go along with whatever images are being shown on screen. So those are usually fun. So see what the comic book version looks like. And on page 403, we've got the first issue of Xander Cannon's Kaiju Max Season 3. It's Oz meets, like, classic Godzilla movies. It's about a maximum security prison for giant Japanese monsters. So that's in its 3rd volume there, so I'll be buying that as well. Page 408, Gumby is back in comics.
Gumby!
And Jim Salicrup's Paper Cuts has got him. A new ongoing series, at least I hope it's ongoing, written by Ray Fawkes and Kyle Baker.
Huh.
An esteemed creator there. He doesn't appear to be doing the art, but he is at least writing some of the stories. Gumby, I collect Gumby comics because they tend to be just islets or oases of incredible off-the-wall creativity. I don't know what it is about the character that seems to bring that out in certain creators, but there was that Bob Burden Gumby series that was out roughly 10 years ago. I remember going to a panel about it when we were in San Diego back in...
Wow, 2008.
Yep.
Huh.
So yeah, that was through a company called Wild Cards Inc., I think, which... but that they apparently no longer have the license. Their loss is Paper Cuts' gain, though. Okay. I will definitely buy this new Gumby series. And on page 422, Chris, how familiar are you with the Japanese property Robotech?
I know of its significance, its prestige, but I've never actually read any Robotech or watched any of the shows.
This might be your chance, Chris, because there's a new Robotech series coming out through Titan Comics, and Brian Wood is writing it.
In.
You know
as
how to
I
push
thought.
his buttons, don't you, Adam?
Beep, boop, beep, boop. Bye, Chris. Bye, Chris.
I'm so easily manipulated. Fantastic.
But yeah, if you're a Robotech fan, all the more reason to buy a new comic featuring these characters written by such a versatile and deeply talented individual as Brian Wood. Oh, also from Titan on page 436, little-known mid-'90s work of Charles Vess, The Book of Ballads and Sagas. Well, they've shortened it to Book of Ballads here, but Titan Comics is putting out an original art edition hardcover, 10 by 15 inches. This is kind of little-known. It's got... an impressive array of talent working on it in a writing capacity, including Jeff Smith and Neil Gaiman. But I found the 4 issues of this. I think Vess self-published it through his Green Man Press. I found all issues of it in the cheap bins at the Pittsburgh Comic Convention. quite a few years ago when the Pittsburgh Comic Convention was still a going thing. We kind of missed that show from its glory days. But I remember finding all 4 issues of this. It's actually pretty good stuff. It's a bunch of stories either based on, inspired by, or freely adapted from old legends and myths of the British Isles. And with artwork by Charles Vess. He seems to have illustrated all these stories written by various writers. And here they are in this collection from Titan, which just looks like it's going to be fairly impressive and handsome looking. It's in black and white. It's an artist edition. We all know what that means. So I would actually recommend this to people who are fans of British folklore and or collect artist editions. And
Vess's artwork is stunning. My first exposure to him was actually, he did a cover for Amazing Spider, I want to say it's 261, of the Hobgoblin standing in triumph over a downed Spider-Man surrounded by flames. I was just riveted by that. And I remember he also did a Spider-Man, it's called Spirits of the Earth, where he and Mary Jane go to Scotland. It's a graphic novel. Beautiful artwork, a tremendously talented artist. You guys mind if I jump ahead to T-shirts here for a minute?
Go right ahead.
I'm thinking of Murdo the Great again here, page 505. Behold the power of Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, wow. I would proudly wear either one of those T-shirts.
I figured, Murdo. I wanted to point them out to you.
Good call.
They have all 6 gems there. So that's got Murdo written all over it.
Quite.
And I've also I always like to go to the back of the book just for the fun tchotchke. So that screamed Shane. Miss you, Shaney Poo. Damn it, where's the page? Here we go. Page 612. You're going to be so kind to join me there. Booster Gold and Blue Beetle Mighty Wallet. Come on, Shane.
The two of them fleeing in terror from an explosion behind them.
That has Shane written all over it. What else, gentlemen? I've shot my bolt. What else?
There were a couple of things in the book section that I thought were worth
Go for it.
Quick mention. First, on page 482, Marvel is starting to put out little golden book type publications for younger readers, including their own take on the R.L. Stine's Goosebumps, featuring classic Marvel horror characters and monsters. So on page 482, we've got little 176-page young reader novels featuring the Glop and Gorgilla from the old Atlas days.
Warning, do not read this before bedtime. That's what it says right there in the solicit.
That was not a real theremin, by the way.
No, of course not.
And on page 487, this is under books again. There's some good stuff here. Now, I said that I'm not a big enough fan of Rick and Morty to buy an art of type book. But on page 487, here's an animated series of which I am perhaps a big enough fan to lay down that kind of scratch for a behind-the-scenes art kind of book. Steven Universe, Art and Origins in hardcover. So it's a behind-the-scenes look at the production of the show with much insight from show creator Rebecca Sugar. She's listed as one of the co-writers thereof. And so, yeah, that's I probably will be going in for that. And below it, we've got a trio of Neil Gaiman written things. There's a coloring book based on his American Gods, currently a comic book coming out through Dark Horse, soon to be a TV series as well.
It's already out on Stars. First episode premiered on Sunday the 30th of April.
Oh, where have I been?
I don't know. Where have you been?
In an apartment without cable, that's where.
Ah, okay.
Or pay-per-view, for that matter. We've also got a picture book entitled Cinnamon, the tale of an Indian princess at a mythical alternate reality India who is mute and who is taught to talk by a magical talking tiger. And a collection of short stories originally entitled Fragile Things, here reissued under the title How to Talk to Girls at Parties. That short story was adapted into a comic book form by Dark Horse a little while ago.
Yep.
So here's that original story in its original prose form with several other stories also mixed in. And for 400 pages, $16.99. Cover art not yet revealed, but I think I may actually pick up a copy of that since it's solicited here. All of that is on page 487.
I'm going to put on page 526. If you're an EC fan, you can get lapel pins of Drusilla, the Crypt Keeper, the Old Witch, or the Vault Keeper. Yeah. Anything else, gentlemen?
No, I'm good.
Brother Murdo?
I guess I'm good as well.
All righty, we shot our bolt.
All right. Well, then we'll wrap it up. This episode, once again, was brought to you by Discount Comic Book Service. Go to dcbservice.com for all your pre-ordering needs.
If you'd like to send us an email, our email address is comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. If you'd like to leave a voicemail, you can call 267-702-6642. You can like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @comicgeekspeak. We'd like all of you, if you have the time and inclination, to visit thecomicforums.vanillaforums.com, which is our little web presence where you can leave comments and feedback about this and many other episodes of our podcast, and participate in comic book-related discussions with some of your fellow CGS listeners and fans. We give a special shout-out and vote of thanks to those of you who've donated monetarily to the show in the past. We really appreciate it. Couldn't have done the show without you. And, as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.